Hello. So, welcome to our first lesson. So, what is a self-employed carer? I'm Maria and I am your host, and I can't wait to jump into this lesson with you. So, let's go for it. So, quick content. So, we're going to cover a quick thing on terminology, and then we're going to go to a business owner. So, that is what a self-employed carer is. And three other really important things about a self-employed carer is relationship-based, flexible service, promotes independence, and then just briefly, when using a self-employed carer isn't a good idea. Okay, let's just jump straight in. So terminology. So personal assistant, care assistant, PA, carer, independent carer, support worker, care worker, all the same thing. So it was only until recently I've sort of called myself a carer. Up until then, I've always sort of been a support worker, manager, team leader, maybe even a personal assistant. In fact, I'll show you my leaflet even says personal assistant. But you know what? As I've grown and settled into this job, I'm actually okay with the term carer. Why? Because it just sums up what we do. We care for people, and that is what a carer does. But it absolutely doesn't matter what terminology you use. Just use what you feel comfortable with. But I just wanted to say that personal assistant, care assistant, independent carer, care worker, support worker, PA, all the same thing as far as I'm concerned. It is just a person that helps another person. Okay. So, self-employed carer, first and foremost, is a business owner. So, it's not a hobby, it's a business. So, a self-employed carer simply delivers care in a local community. So, it's local people helping local people. You are self-employed, which just means that you have registered HMRC as a sole trader. So, you're basically saying, I'm now responsible for paying my tax and national insurance, and I don't have a boss, I am my own boss. So we'll talk about tax and national insurance and all that further down the line, so don't worry about that, but just know that you're self-employed, it's your business, you're the boss, the buck stops with you basically. And so, as I said, it's not a hobby, you are a business. So you need to be professional, you need to work hard, you need to grow your reputation, but just know that all your hard work goes into growing your own personal brand and business. So I just love that. I love the fact that my hard work grows my business. After working for many, many years as an employee, I never really liked the fact that all my hard work grew somebody else's business. I just didn't. It's just not in me. And so having my own business as a self-employed carer, it's just been amazing. And then all my hard work grows my reputation and my business buddy's reputation. And it just means work flows our way because we get a reputation of being really good carers. And so people say, oh, I know, we'll recommend those too. So I just love the fact that my hard work grows my business. So as I said, you can work on your own, or you can work with one or two carers. So I personally work with a work buddy, but you absolutely can do it on your own as well. You can technically work with up to like 4 carers, but we'll cover more in future lessons as to why I don't think that's a good idea. But basically, here it's only ever your face that walks through their door. So that is a really, really important point. So the difference between using a care company and a self-employed carer is the fact that they get to know that same person. And it's quite nice if you have 1 or 2 carers, because there's a bit of a change of face, but not too much of a change of face. It's really, really important. You cannot undervalue the importance of feeling safe and knowing the people that are in your home. So that is a really quick, brief thing of self-employed carer. So another really important thing about a self-employed carer is the fact that it's a relationship based. So tell me a little bit more. So self-employed caring works best when a relationship is grown between client and carer. And I mean a proper relationship where you look forward to seeing each other, and not not in like an awful way or anything, but sometimes you think, oh, I'm going to tell them that. They'll love to know that. Oh, God, those type of like, a nice friendly relationship. So you have time to sit and chat. So unlike like other care companies where they've just in and out, you're not like that. You make sure that you leave yourself time to chat. So we always say we don't do anything less than a 30-minute visit. Some people even say 45 or an hour, because in those times you just cannot build a relationship and a rapport with someone if you're just here, there and everywhere. So part of building a relationship is learning people's clients' likes and dislikes. And then by knowing their likes and dislikes, you can tailor your care to them. So it might be that someone likes chocolate cake. So if you've been baking and you've made a chocolate cake, bring them a slice of chocolate cake. It might be that, that they used to have a dog and they really miss having a dog. So if you've got a nice little dog at home, like take him over for a bit of a cuddle every now and again. It might be as simple as they really enjoy playing dominoes. So if there's a domino group on, take them to dominoes. It might be that your person was the designated driver all the time and they really miss being able to pick up their friend and take him to lunch. Well, be that designated driver for that person so that person can still pick up their friend and take him for lunch. And there's just 3 of you now rather than 2. So another part of being a self-employed carer is, if we jump back up to this one, not just getting your basic needs met. So I'm not talking about just giving someone a wash, make sure they've had the tablets, make sure they've had something to eat. We're going beyond that. We're delivering high quality care. So we're making sure that they're happy, that they're stimulated, that they're getting their exercise, that they're eating well, that they're just that they're having quality interaction. So it really is about tailoring what they like and what they dislike. It might be as simple as knowing how they have their cup of tea. Do they have dishwater tea or do they have a builder's brew? Do they have no sugar? Do they have a sweetener? There's nothing worse than someone making you brew and it's just not quite right. And you don't really want to tell someone, but sometimes you will. It depends on the person. But like, just learn. Really take the time to learn their likes and dislikes. And the quality of care is amazing. Never underestimate the little things. So as I said, offer quality care activities. So we're not just on about doing basic needs, we're on about more. So if someone likes going to go out for lunch or going to Domino's or dementia cafes or knit and natter, walking the dog, feeding the ducks, there's all sorts you can do. So you have to sort of check with family a bit in case, because obviously these type of things cost a bit more money, but most times family members will bite your hand off if you offer to take them to things, because it relieves their guilt and pressure. Family members feel so much guilt and pressure over trying to look after their elderly loved one. If you sort of say, well, I can do that, or we can go there, then they know they've got that peace of mind that they're having a nice, happy time, and it just takes the pressure off them. So most times, just double check, say that, we've got this on. If we could take them to that, and most times they will absolutely bite hand off. And so we support some people that you think, they would absolutely hate that dementia cafe because they're going to do singing and dancing, and you think, oh no, it's not their thing at all. But you know what, just go along and give it a go, because honestly, the amount of times we've took people and they thought, no, it's not going to be their thing, and they have loved it. They've let themselves go and they've sang and they've danced, and sometimes I'll take a sneaky picture and send it to their like son or daughter and say, look, and they go, gosh, if you didn't send me that photo, I wouldn't have believed you. There's not photos to be used on social media or anything like that, but if you're going to send them to their family, that's okay. So because you are supporting the family too, whilst you're there to support your main client, one of your main roles is to make sure that the family are feeling relieved and feeling that they've got support of you, someone to rely on. Even if it's just asking you questions like, what's the next thing we might be expecting, or is this normal, or dad thought that his mum and dad were coming today, like what am I meant to say when he sort of says that? And then so you can offer that advice because you know that you want to just play along with things like that, but you're there to support the family too. And that's a really big difference with self-employed caring, is you're not just a care company coming in to deliver the basics, you're there to support the entire family. So you offer a flexible service as well. This is another major thing for self-employed carers. So I'll tell you a bit more. So as a self-employed carer, you can do anything needed. And some people don't like saying that they'll do anything because they're like, oh, I don't know, I'm not comfortable with that. So absolutely, just do what makes you comfortable. That's fine. But just know that there's not really much you can't do. There's no boss saying, oh, you can't do that. Oh, that's against our policies and procedures. Oh, no, you can't stand on that chair to change that light bulb. Oh, no. Just, you got to use your common sense, but absolutely, you can do anything needed. So as we're going down here, so you can support with wants and wishes, not just needs. So for example, if someone has a dog and it needs walking, you can walk that dog with or without them. You can pop to the shop, you can put the laundry on, you can make a healthy, nutritious meal in the time that you've said that it will take you to make it, because you're not just doing the bare minimum. Lots of care companies, it's not a criticism, it is simply a fact that they've got big overheads to have to make up. So the only way they can do that is by seeing lots of care clients, which means they just don't have time to do all those extra jobs. For example, pop into the chemist. Sometimes that can be a 5-minute job. Sometimes it can be 20 minutes. Well, a care company can't do that for them because they haven't got that wiggle room. So you can be flexible, and because you are on you haven't got to lower those costs, it means you don't have to have as many care clients, so you've got more wiggle room, so you're not rushing here, there and everywhere. And as I said before, you can support extra activities, you can be flexible. So on different days, if there's different activities, you can sort of say, as long as you can fit it in and they want to go, like, why don't we go Domino's Wednesday night? It's and things like that. It really, really makes a big difference. And so you can make diary adjustments as well. So these people and what they're doing. So maybe they're going out for a friend's birthday and you're not needed that day. Well, don't go. Or you can be the taxi service if you wanted. But little things like that make a big difference. So health appointments as well. Like you can sort of offer to take people to health appointments, or if a family member is going to take a health appointment, then you don't need to go that day. Or if it's Christmas, or if it's you can be a lot more flexible. And so going back to the health appointments, supporting people's health appointments is really good as well, because it means that you're on top of their health needs, and so you're not getting like the third, second, fourth hand information from this lady's mum that doesn't really understand the questions to ask and why. Oh, I don't know, I didn't ask that. You can just be there and ask those questions as well. And also a sneaky little tip for you: if you support people to health appointments and you show that you're a really good carer, you're building relationships with the nurses and doctors as well. So when the nurses and doctors come across someone that needs support and they need a nice carer, guess who they're going to think of? They're going to think of you, that nice carer. So we get loads of work through supporting people to health appointments and doing a really good job and following up, and it's a win for all. And then because you've been flexible with people, they're more flexible to you as well. So you can suit your own lifestyle a bit more. So I'm not saying keep messing them about and change them around. Absolutely not. But if there's your child's sports day or the nativity and you want to go watch it, then if you need to finish a bit early that day, or go a bit earlier or go a bit later, to suit them and to fit it in, then absolutely you can do that, because you've been flexible with them. They'll be flexible with you. And so it really, really, really helps being flexible. So another big important thing about self-employed carer is that you're there to promote independence. So the idea of using a self-employed carer is simply so people can stay in their own home. It might be that they only stay in their own home for that little bit longer, that's fine. But the idea is that you promote that independence so they can live out their wish to stay in their own home as long as possible. So by you being there and helping them, it takes the pressure off friends and family. So they're not the ones having to make sure that they're up. They're not the ones having to make sure that they've got up that day, they've not forgotten the tablets, that they're eating, that they're drinking, that they're having a shower, that they're looking after themselves. You're there to do all that. And so it means that they can stay independent as possible, and you can be there to just prompt those things. And it means that because family haven't got that pressure, then they're more likely to help them remain independent in their own home as well. And also it frees up their time. So when a really good example is, often we'll not see people at weekend because their family are about at weekend, and they're more than happy to go and visit and do the things that we do during the week because they've not had to do it during the week and at weekend. So things like that really help. And because as a self-employed carer, you've got less time constraints, because as I said, you're not rushing here, there and everywhere to get to the next person, the next person, the next person, because you don't need to do that because you haven't got loads of overheads like a big care company. So you've got the time to help people be independent. So you don't need to rush people. You're just simply there often to boost their confidence and do the parts that they can't do. So a really good example is for helping someone have a shower, for example. If it takes a lot less time if you undress someone, put them in the shower, give them a wash all over, give them a dry, put the clothes on and take them back downstairs, job done. But actually they might only need you there for the socks and shoes. Oh my gosh, socks and shoes are such a big problem for older people. Socks and shoes, and for that confidence just in case they fall, so they know that there is someone there if they do get into bother. They might want to undress themselves, get in the shower, wash themselves, dry themselves. And yes, it may take them a long time. It may be a really slower pace than you would do it yourself, but you know what? They can still do it. So whilst they can still do it, they should be doing it themselves. And so what you need to do is work out how long that will take, and say this visit's going to take an hour and a half when we shower someone. And so that's how you sort of factor into your diary, and that's what you charge for. So what you actually need as a self-employed carer is time and patience. Whereas like a care company just hasn't got that flexibility or that time needed. So your job is simply to promote independence and do the parts they can't do. Don't get me wrong, if someone can make a brew, they don't always want to make a brew for themselves. Like, it's lovely to have your brew made. It's lovely to have your tea made sometimes. Like, you've got to work that balance. But as a rule of thumb, remember, promote independence. So when is using a self-employed carer not a good idea? So a hoisting, when people need hoisting a couple of times a day, it's just not very practical to use one or two carers. It's just too much. Like, it needs to be a care company. It needs to have a big team to be able to come and help and deliver that level of cover, basically. If someone's condition deteriorates a lot and they need a lot more help, then again, using a self-employed carer might not be the way forward. Sometimes you can get living self-employed carers, and again, that is quite a good option because you've got more 24/7 cover, but it still needs to be not too high of a need. If it's someone that's really deteriorated a lot and they've become really high maintenance and need wise, then it might be that you're looking at a care home or a care company, because you just need that level of, you need more people basically. Sometimes home safety can become an issue, and if it's unsafe to be left at home alone, then it's not a good idea to use a self-employed carer. So often we find people start playing with cookers and trying to cook and things like that, and you can absolutely put some safety mechanisms in. Like, before now, we've had the gas turned off, so we can turn the gas on and off under the cupboard, or we can turn the switches off under the to stop the cooker going on. But eventually sometimes it does become unsafe. Stairs can often be a really biggie. If someone just insists on going up and down stairs and they just can't do it any longer, even you can put a stair lift in if you want, but often people won't use them. Like, if they're quite stubborn and they just, eventually that's what's going to happen. They're going to fall down the stairs, and sometimes this would be a time to sort of say, this isn't the right situation for a self-employed carer. If someone has a really small support network, and especially if you are the only self-employed carer and you don't have a work buddy, if someone has like no one in their life, which it does happen, again, a self-employed carer isn't the way to go. It's too much pressure for the self-employed carer. You are not there to be that person's whole responsibility. Like, you want to help and support the family, really. So I would highly advise, if someone has really small support network, I would highly advise just thinking long and hard if you really want that job. If you've got a work buddy, then it's not too bad because there's two of you to sort of juggle that a bit. But if you're working on your own and that person has no one in the world, then honestly, I would recommend a care company instead. And so, as I said, self-employed caring is it's to prolong living at home. So it isn't always to live at home to the very end of the days. It really isn't. As I said, sometimes it just gets to the stage where sometimes people's condition deteriorates, sometimes it becomes unsafe. And you know what? Sometimes people just get lonely, and sometimes they get scared, and sometimes they've just had enough. And in all those times, it's fine to go to a care home. A care home is quite often the better option. So don't think that because they've got a self-employed carer, they're going to live at home to the very bitter end, because often that just doesn't happen. You are just there to help them live at home as long as possible. And so you've got to really think, can you meet that person's needs to a high standard? And I mean a really high standard, not a, oh yeah, we can just about do it. Oh, it's going to stretch us. Oh, I'm not, none of that. We are quality care all the way. So if you can meet that person's needs to a high standard, then absolutely go for it. But if you think it might be too much, then signpost them to a care company, signpost them to a care home. And what I highly recommend is go visit your local care homes, go talk to your local care agencies and get a feel of them, get to see what they're like, whether they're nice, what they prioritise, what the staffing levels are, and if it's got a nice atmosphere. And then when you're signposting people, you can genuinely say, I've been and had a look round and it's a lovely place. Or I spoke to these managers and they really prioritise giving people lots of time. And it can be a genuine signpost, genuine recommendation. So I do highly recommend doing that. But if you do think you can meet that person's needs to a high standard, then absolutely go for it, because self-employed caring is amazing. Right, so that was a really, really quick rundown of what a self-employed carer is. So you've absolutely got this. I know you have. So just to sum up, it was terminology. Just doesn't really matter what term you use, it's just terms. And a self-employed carer is flexible, they promote independence, and it is relationship based. If you remember those 3 points, then you are onto a winning stage. Okay, we'll see you in the next lesson.